Growing up in a family of track and field athletes, I always wanted to go to the Olympics. I never made it, but as fate would have it, I get to interview Olympians. Mike Conley Sr. warmed our hearts in the 1984 and 1992 Olympic Games by winning a gold and silver medal in the triple jump. Tonight, Mike Conley talks to us about his new career, his son Mike Conley Jr., his clients, and the possibility of a 2016 Olympic event in Chicago. Join me tonight as we discuss the political world of sports with Mike Conley on Garrard McClendon Live. Welcome to Garrard McClendon Live Sports, the human test of physical and mental athleticism. My guest today is an Olympic medalist, a sports agent, and the proud father of Memphis Grizzlies guard, Mike Conley Jr. Joining us by phone is the executive director of World Sports Chicago, triple jump gold medalist, Mr. Mike Conley Sr. Welcome to Garrard McClendon Live.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. You know, Mike, you're living the good life. I mean, you got a son that's playing professional sports. Your brother, Steve Conley, was on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're a sports agent now. You know, what does it feel like?
Man, I've been blessed. You know, I've been blessed. I have a great family, and we've been blessed with athletic abilities, and I'm living the dream right now, following my son around and watching him compete at the highest level in basketball, and you know, I couldn't act any better.
You know, Mike, what does it take, man, to raise a professional NBA basketball player? I mean, what do you do from the day the baby is born till the child gets to the pros?
Well, I don't know if I can even say that. I'll probably get arrested or something, because little Mike's been playing basketball since he was probably 14 months old. And not that I pushed him or anything, but he enjoyed the game from that early on. And of course, I was worried because I figured I thought he maybe wouldn't be tall enough, you know, to fulfill his dreams. And
yeah.
But he really worked hard at it. And, you know, for a 6-foot point guard, he made it all the way to the league. And I'm proud of him for that, because I know in high school he got up every morning at 5:30 before school started and worked on his game all the way through high school. And it's paid off for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, let me ask you this. What kind of a track athlete was little Mike? I mean, was he fast? What's up?
Yeah, look, Mike was extremely fast. When he was a sophomore in high school up in Indianapolis, he long jumped 22.9 and ran 10.7 for 100 meters, and so he had a future in track and field if he wanted to go that route. But he gave it up after his sophomore year and really just concentrated on basketball. But he is a very fast individual. I mean, he's basically a world-class sprinter playing basketball right now.
Wow. 630-575-TALK is the number, 630-575-TALK. We're talking to Olympic gold medalist Mike Conley Sr. Mike, you were a triple jumper. You know, let's talk about work ethic and the Olympic athlete. You know, what makes an Olympic athlete, you know, get up in the morning and work out? Is it just the gold medal, or is it more than that?
It's the gold medal. It's you know, for every athlete's a little bit different, but they all want to compete. And the Olympics are every 4 years, and there are events that happen in between that time. And one thing you learn real quickly as an Olympic athlete or as a professional athlete is that even though your goal is 4 years away or at the end of the year in August or something, when you have that first day of practice, you realize how important that first day of practice is. And you never want to, you know, you always want to make sure you're doing more than the next guy, your competitors are doing. And that just keeps you going. That just keeps you driving, you know. And,
yes.
You know, and you know, when I'm out there in the rain, my coach used to always tell me, he says, I guarantee your competitor's not out here in the lightning right now. And I said, of course, because he's got good friends, you know. But hey, that's what Olympic athletes do, and the sacrifices they make for family and their life. You know, you know, it encompasses their whole life at that point.
Yeah, let's talk about Beijing, an amazing Olympics this year. What were some of your favorite events this year in terms of the human drama at the Olympics?
Well, you know, I have a few personal stories. I say personal. Obviously, I know a lot of people involved in track and field, and so For me, one of them was just watching the women's 4x4 win. It was that spectacular finish by Sonia Richards, who didn't run as well as she wanted to run the 400 meters, and our two relay teams before in the 4x1 dropped the baton, and to watch the women win that race was, I got chills on me, almost teared up a little bit. But obviously, there's a lot of other human stories out there that were great. It was an excellent Olympics for me. It was one of the, I got a chance to go and spectate and watch the events from, different, not working at the games or competing at the games. Was actually the first Olympic Games I either was not working or for the games themselves if the teams are not competing. So it was a little different perspective for me.
Yeah, Mike, it was a joy watching you compete, man. Back in the day, it was always nerve-wracking to hear Dwight Stones, kind of prime you up before you would take off on that on the launch pad in the triple jump. I'm going to Kevin. Kevin, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Hey, you're on the phone with me and Mr. Mike Conley. What's your question or comment, Kevin?
Hi, Mike. I was wondering, your son, Mike Jr., he continues to play ball. Does he still be in contact with Greg Oden? Are they still close friends?
Oh yeah, actually they went to summer school this summer together at Ohio State and were roommates again. And so obviously they stay in contact. All this summer they were living together and they're best friends. They're like brothers, and they'll always be close with each other.
Kevin, thanks for that phone call. I'm going to Stephanie next. Stephanie, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. You got Mike Conley on the line.
Hi, Mike. For one, I'd like to congratulate you for your efforts and the Olympics. I know it's hard work, and it's always good to see an African-American man doing something positive in front of all. But my question is this. Now, I've noticed that the track outfits, the volleyball outfits are getting more skimpier and skimpier. Not that I have an issue with it, but I wanted to know what's your take on it, and are you okay with that? Because I'm seeing the side panels, and it's starting to look a little feminine. So, what do you think about that?
It's a very, very good observation, and it's twofold. I can't speak as much for volleyball. I can speak some for track and field because as my job at USA Track and Field when I was there, I would actually have to look over the uniforms and order them and all of that, and I have seen a move to that. But at the same time, I get a chance to be privy of the technology that's behind it.
Yes.
And in this day and age, our athletes have won a competitive edge so much that what they wear is a big factor in that. And they're going to this aerodynamic look, and every stitching on a uniform has a wind resistance to it, and so they are getting skimpier and skimpier. And even the men's outfits. The men wear leotards. The men wear the tighter uniforms and stuff now. But a lot of it has more to do with function than style. But obviously, style is always important for, especially for women what they wear. But I think it's a combination of performance also.
Yes, sir. Olympic gold medalist Mike Conley is with us. Should the Olympics come to Chicago in 2016, can Chicago handle the crowds? Call me at 630-575-TALK. Mike Conley Sr. on Garrard McClendon Live. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
To be a part of Chicago 2016 and having the opportunity to bring the Olympics back to our country. I can't even think about what it's going to be like here in this great city of Chicago. I've been here many times, and every time I come back, I see more and more, and I have more and more fun. I can pretty much, just imagine what it's going to be like, right by the waterfront, having all the venues right there, and seeing the excitement.
Wow, that's Mike Phelps. He's the human shark. Call me at 630-575-TALK. We're discussing professional and amateur sports tonight on Garrard McClendon Live. Joining us is Olympic gold medalist Mike Conley Sr. from World Sport Chicago. Mike, welcome back to the show. Mike,
thank you.
Quick question. Do you still hold that indoor triple jump record, man, 58 feet 3 inches?
Yeah, I still have it. It's not the world record any longer. It's still the American record, though.
Man, congratulations on that. Now, are there some up-and-comers that may be able to break that indoor record, man?
I'm hoping. I have a son that's a junior in high school right now. That's better than I was when I was in high school. That I'm thinking is gonna have a chance of tapping on that door to get that record.
Man, you know, it's not fair, Mike. You've got a monopoly on athletics in your family. I'm going to Scott. Is it Scott? Let me go to Joel. Joel, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. What's your comment, Joel?
I wanted to just tell Mike Conley that he's an idol of mine.
I'm sorry, Gerard. I recognize that voice.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Okay, and I wanted to tell him idol, but I also wanted to tell him how we're linked in history is that because I replaced him in high school. He was the 12th all-time in the history of high school, and in '87 I jumped 51-11 and a half to replace him.
Wow, so you were out there. Mike, you say you recognize that voice?
Oh, it sounds like I do.
Who is it? Talk to me. Come on now.
Was that Al?
No, it's a young man named Joel. You know?
Joel, okay.
Yeah, but it's all good. I'm glad the athletes are calling the show. I'm going to Coach Lewis next. Do I have a Coach Lewis on Garrard McClendon Live?
Hello?
Coach Lewis.
Yes.
Yes, what's your comment?
Hi, I wanted to congratulate Mike. I'm Coach Lewis Coleman, personal trainer for North Lawndale College Prep. I wanted to congratulate him on his career and the development of Mike Jr. I noticed the work with Mike's body over the past year, and I wondered if Mike Sr. could talk to the kids about the work that was involved.
Coach Lewis, thank you for that phone call. I've got probably the most intelligent callers, Mike, in the city of Chicago. That was a great question. You want to address that, please?
Sure, yeah. You know, Mike, being in the NBA, he got beat up a lot last year, and also in college his freshman year, and he realizes that, you know, he needs to get stronger. And to his credit, I mean, he actually from high school to college, he gained, you know, 15 pounds, 20 pounds and had no body fat whatsoever, and that's due to his dedication and his hard work and his you know, eating habits and you know, and just staying diligent in the weight room. And you know, and like I said, it's all credit to him because he understands what it takes to be able to perform at his best. And he looks at his weaknesses and he attacks his weaknesses. And one of his weaknesses was his strength to be able to endure in the NBA. He's taken that to heart and has done something about it. So it just goes hand in hand with his preparation up to this point.
You know, Mike, it's all about work ethic because many times people just think you can just be good and that's enough. I mean, you've got to make sure your diet's right, the weight training has to be in effect, and when you look at college to the professional level, I mean, we're talking a totally different ball game here. I'm going to Scott. Scott, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. You're on Live with Mike Conley.
Oh, thanks a lot, Gerard. Good evening, Mike. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Mike, is a world-class athlete and an international competitor and someone that's been in several Olympic venues, and I know you're an advocate for the city and for us hosting the 2016 Olympics. What do you feel at this point the city and the committee needs to do to set themselves apart from the other competitors or the other people vying for the Olympics, and where do we stand right now? What do you think we need to take that notch to step ahead?
Wow, Scott, thank you so much for that question.
Very good question. Our biggest challenge and barrier there is letting the world understand and know what Chicago is all about. And you know, we may know because we're close to it. Other people in America may know, but there's people around the world that really don't have a good vision or a good outlook on what Chicago is all about via physically and also the people in Chicago and the diversity in Chicago. And I really think that, you know, our lakefront, I really think that our diversity, and I don't say diversity because in a way that just that we have you know, a mixture of a lot of cultures, but in Chicago we really have communities that are diverse. And so we had the World Boxing Championships here in this past year, and it was great to see, you know, the communities come out and actually cheer for their ethnic group. You know, in Mongolia, it doesn't matter where the country was. You know, we had a community that embraced it, and that's something you don't find at many games. I've never experienced at the games, and so that's going to give a different atmosphere for those visiting countries than that they've had in other games. And that, along with Chicago's aesthetics, cleanliness, people, spirit, and the proximity of our village and as it relates to the venues,
yes.
I think Chicago has a real good shot at it.
Yes, we're going to continue speaking with Mike Conley, Olympic gold medalist, Olympics in Chicago, and steroids. Can you win without them? Call me, 630-575-TALK. We'll be back shortly.
I mean, she had 120 athletes around this country that came together. It's really interesting. You see the professional basketball players really saluting, standing up, and really clapping for many of the amateurs there. There's a real spirit that maybe we've never had that.
Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. Daily thinks Chicago is ready for the Olympics. Beijing was hot this year, and London is next. Mike Conley Sr. is with Garrard McClendon Live tonight talking sports by telephone. Welcome back, Mike. We appreciate you spending so much time with us. We know you're a busy man. I'm going to go to the phone shortly, but Mike, let's talk about, just quickly, steroids. I know you were a clean athlete, but how often do you think athletes should be tested to weed this out of the game?
Well, I think they're tested quite a bit now. I think the issue isn't how much they're tested; it's what you're testing for, and is the technology keeping up with the cheaters? I think that's the biggest question. I was working at USA Track and Field, so was really intimately involved in know how much they do test. I know one year those athletes were tested 3,000 times, and they can get tested at any one. Any second of any day,
yeah.
No matter where they're at and around the world, they can find them and test them. So I don't think that's the issue. How much to test is a matter of what are you testing for and keeping up with it.
Oh, because there's probably lots of things out there that can be used to mask.
Sure. I mean, there's different masking agents that come up. There's different, God forbid, they get involved in DNA and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
We just have to keep one step ahead of them, and that's the key. Like I said, it used to be back in the day that you had a number of tests. How do you test them? Testing them out of competition. How do you surprise them? Those were the issues back in the day, but those aren't the issues now.
Yeah.
They've got that part figured out. It's making sure that you're actually testing for the right substance.
Yeah, and I always pray that athletes stay clean, but it's just one of those things. I mean, it's a part of life, but we have to deal with it. I'm going back to the phones. I'm going to Buddy. Thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Buddy, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Excellent. Talk to me. Okay, we're going to Herbert next. Herbert, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. What is your comment?
Yes. I'd like to know if Mike Conley ever returns to his grassroots and gives pointers to, some of the younger talent on what it will take to make it to the next level.
Wow. Luther South, that's a great question. Mike, you want to address that?
Yeah. I do it all the time. When I was living in Arkansas, I started a foundation there and worked with quite a few kids, and coached, everything from track to basketball to everything else. But I do think it's important to teach kids not just the mechanics of sports, but what it takes to mentally prepare and how those same lessons as a world-class athlete can lay over into regular life.
Yeah.
Because there are parallels there that are very, very important, and I feel that if you got it figured out in sports, you can get it figured out in life.
That's right.
If you use the same principles. So yeah, I'm always an advocate for that, and I come back and give back in that regard all the time.
Definitely. We appreciate that. We got Mike Conley on the line. www.cltv.com. We're back with Mike Conley, Olympic gold medalist. He's also the father of another Mike Conley, the junior, who plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. Mike Conley, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live in this final segment.
Yeah, thanks.
Mike, let me ask you this. Let's talk about Chicago's competition. Who are the other cities that are in competition for this Olympic Games in 2016?
Yeah, it's down to 4 cities. You got Chicago, you got Madrid, you got Tokyo, and you have Rio.
Who seems like the biggest competitor there?
At this stage of the game, you really can't count anyone out. I mean, at this stage of the game, London wasn't considered a favorite. And so for you to, put favorites out there right now would be a little bit premature. So you really have to respect all the candidate cities and know that any one of them can win.
Yeah. What's it like being the agent for your son? What's that like?
Man, that's a whole nother ball game there. So now I work for my at the time he was drafted, my 19-year-old son, right? You're working for your teenager, okay?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it was funny. I was in his house. This was over Halloween, and there was a trail of candy leading to his room. And I was like, Mike, you can't eat the candy.
Yeah.
This is for the trick-or-treaters. You can't eat up the candy. He gave me a look and a stare, and he says, why are you in my house?
Oh, Daddy, you work for me. Oh, man. Hey, Mike, how can we get in contact with you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, well, you can't contact me through my website,
Okay.
but you can contact me at usaconley@aol.com.
Great, we appreciate it. Hey, thanks to my guest, Mike Conley, Sr., Olympic gold medalist, CEO of Mac Management Group, and the father of Mike Conley, Jr., guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. In your life, be the best that you can be by setting your goals high. All of us can't be Olympians or pro athletes, but we all have a special something that can change the world for the better. Matthew Arnold said it best: life is not about having and getting, but about being and becoming. Write me at CLTV.com/GML. You all have a good night. Ask or ask? Donda's rules, Suit Shoes. McClendonreport.com.